pretty good board, just to bet small. He calls fast, so I basically put him on like ace highs, king highs, 9x, and the occasional deuce x. You know, he had ace x before that one time. I'm not sure how often he's doing it, so that's why I'm still putting in his range. I mean, I think against most opponents you wouldn't put ace x in their range, but here I think the turn's an interesting decision. I decided that the safe play was just to check back. I do think he has like a 9, like a pretty decent amount here. He's just not much of a floater. He folds the continuation bets like quite a bit, so I decided to take a free card. We hit a spade. I think it's good, like a very large portion of the time. And then we'll just get to showdown a lot too when he has like king 7 and stuff. When he bets the river, I think it's probably a mistake to call. I just don't think he's turning king high into a bluff. It looks like we're just giving up, so I think he would just let those get to showdown. You could also have some like king 5s, king 4s, stuff like that that are value betting. You know, I think I kind of convinced myself with the price that it was okay, but I think that's probably a slightly losing play in the long run. Not the greatest board to bet against him with his texture. I think he has a pretty strong defending range, but with 8 high, it's probably better than checking. I think a lot of people would barrel this turn, but I don't think it's that great. And once he checks the river here, I think it's a pretty clear bet. I think we can have like ace jacks, jack 9s, queen 10s. I think we can represent a lot of hands by a bet check bet line. Well, you know, in most conventional cases, that sometimes gets looked up a lot because it looks a little fishy. Like, why aren't you value betting the turn if you have a hand? I think in this case it's good, and his 6x just turned into 5th pair. So, and I think most of his 6x like aren't like Broadway 6x's. Because I don't think he defends like king 6, queen 6, 10 6, jack 6 that often. Maybe occasionally suited cards, but his defending range just isn't strong enough to have those hands. So. I think it's very, very convincing that we could have a queen here or all those other hands I mentioned that the 10 helped out. Again, I think his limping range is pretty strong in general, so while I might attack that board very occasionally, I don't think that's like a great spot for it. A lot of times this is an automatic shove against aggressive 3-betters, but him not being one of them. I actually decided to appeal here. I thought, like, since he does have such a strong non-3-bet all-in range, ace-2 is actually like an okay little hand, just because if he does have kings, queens, jacks, 10s, like when we hit an ace, he's not going to believe that we have it that often, so I think there's some implied odds there. And then I think actually if we like hit a deuce, like sometimes like it's good because he's going to have a lot of like, he probably just has like pairs and like strong ace-x hands in his range generally. So getting 3-1 or whatever that was, I think it's an okay call. I think queen 4 is kind of, or 5-4 is similar to the queen 4 hand, where it's just not going to be quite, not strong enough with him at 13 big blinds or whatever that was, 12 blinds. I think this is probably a ship here. I think I like shipping better than calling a little bit. I mean, if we go back to the queen 4 example, I mean, it's almost the exact same, and 9-6 suited is going to be a pretty straightforward ship there. I mean, it's only 2 chips, so I guess I shouldn't say straightforward. But I think I still like it better than calling. I mean, whatever, calling's fine, but... I think that was... let's go back here for a second. I think the king 2 was a little bit of a loose call on his part. I know it's strange that I'm accusing him of being too loose after this the whole time, saying he's too tight. But for 9 big blinds there, I think that's too loose of a call. Unless he thinks like my range is in such a fashion, arranged in such a fashion that I'm shoving like mostly just like low like suited junk and stuff like that, I guess. I tinkered with making it 135 here as opposed to shoving, just because I'd done it a couple times before as a bluff, so I think it would have been a decent little spot for it. But I decided, actually, yeah, I think I actually prefer that with him at this 14 big blind up, 15 big blind depth. I think it's a good spot for it. With him just folding so much to jams there, you know, I want to be careful. I still have strong hands in my reship range there, but I don't think he's observant enough at this point to get there. I think Jack 5 suited is a pretty easy push. So this is going to be the last one in the match. So I hope you guys liked it. It was, I think, an interesting opponent. You know, it's not the most wild match or anything, but I think it showcases some good adjustments and how to exploit people who tend to be tighter, which, you know, doesn't happen too often in hypers, but and I'm just really keeping the pressure on him here with 3-betting. I don't think he's reacting enough. And, you know, a couple times that he did call 3-bets, he just folded the flop fairly quickly. So, with him playing fit or fold, folding a lot of 3-bets, it's going to be a very profitable line for me to take. I think I, again, would have preferred a 4-bet or a 3-bet with a queen 4 as opposed to calling. With him betting this turn, I mean, I think he's reasonably polarized. Actually, I shouldn't say that. I think he's probably a strong enough player where he's betting like any ace-x here. I don't have a lot of 2x in my range, so I'm kind of exploitable in that way on this turn. But I don't think it's going to be a profitable call. I think he has enough value in his range, and, you know, even if he has like a king 6 or something, we're not in that great a shape. I'm not sure if he's the type of player to put pressure on me on the river there, if he has nothing or a strong semi-bluff on the turn, but... I wouldn't mind giving up on this board. I think that ace-9 would have been a good spot too for the small 3-bet to induce. similar to the ace-queen hand from before. I think 10-7's right on the cusp there of the 14-15 big blind range, re-jam range we talked about against this guy. I think it's a decent texture for a small c-bet as well. You can see here, I think he raise called Jack 10 at 13 blind, so that's kind of the adjustment I'm talking about. He finally started raise calling wider, and that was the first evidence I'd ever seen of that, so interesting. I mean, I think if we had played 10, 20 more games, it would have been interesting to see where it went exactly. And that's the last hand of the match. So I think I ended up 2 buy-ins. Let's check out my EV line here. So this is the match that I played against him. So I ended up, what is that? About 4 buy-ins. Earned about 4 buy-ins of EV against him. This is his graph, not mine. And then I ended up about 2 buy-ins. So I think 9 games means less than nothing, but still good to see that the trend is in our favor anyway. So I hope you guys liked the video, and until next time, thanks a lot. Bye.